Hey Merfolk fans, I'm Joe. Thanks very much for joining me. This is the fifth and final round of a Modern Friendly League. Let's go ahead and see how it went. I won the die roll. And this is a fantastic opening hand. We've got a 1-drop, 2-drop, into a 4-drop later with some interaction with the Harbingers. Easy keep. Now the opponent mulliganed to 6. I decided to keep there, and we can see if they put on the bottom or the top. Looks like they put on the bottom. So starting off with the advantage of the opponent having mulliganed and scryed to the bottom, open with that Wanderwine Hub and play our Cursecatcher. Urza's Tower, so we're going to have a chance to try out our Ceremonious Rejection again. There's an Expedition map. Alright, so right on time, hitting that Spreading Seas. It's at its best against Tron. But since they're still at least 2 turns away from getting Tron fully established, we still want to play out creatures and get more of a clock going. It's totally possible that they'll play out something like a Ghost Quarter next turn. And there's no real rush for us to play Spreading Seas. We want to wait until they already have 2 Tron pieces established before we play Spreading Seas. And until then, we just keep going with Plan A, which is to push as much damage as possible, as quickly as possible. So getting in for 1 with Cursecatcher, we're going to follow up with the Island and Silvergill Adept. Not sure which creature I revealed, probably a Harbinger. It doesn't really matter in this matchup. Yeah, so I revealed a Harbinger. And drew another Master of Waves. So obviously another land or 2 would be good at this point. There's that second Tron piece, and it's definitely time to play Spreading Seas now. So Spreading Seas hopefully will hit that 3rd land drop. We're still on time with our land drops. Now, it might be enticing to play out a Lord, but they do have Expedition map here, and they're going to be able to hit 7 mana if we do not interact with their lands this turn. So taking 3 more, going down to 16. Going to play this Spreading Seas on the tower. In response, the opponent cracks the Expedition map to get a replacement tower. Spreading Seas will resolve. We hit a Cavern of Souls, which is pretty nice. We still don't know what version of Tron they're playing. They could be playing Blue Tron, in which case we might have just helped them a little bit. And we hit our land, so very nice. Right on time with our land drops. Hopefully so there's that tower. Chromatic Star, hopefully no Expedition maps to grab the 3rd Tron piece. Cycling the Chromatic Star for 1 mana. And at this point, I was just like sort of crossing my fingers, hoping the opponent was going to make a mistake. And they did. They walked right into it. Sylvan Scrying. They didn't remember that Cursecatcher was on the board, so maybe they were a little tilted by the Spreading Seas. They thought they were good to go with their Tron mana, and I just counter it with Cursecatcher. The opponent actually sat here looking at the Cursecatcher for about 10 seconds. So Cursecatcher doing a ton of work. He got in 2 damage and countered a Sylvan Scrying, which would have turned on Tron mana. So pretty clear what the plan is now. We have no more interactions, so Jam Lords, push damage, and hope for like a quick conclusion. The opponent's going to go down to 13. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to win on the next attack step, but we can win on the following for sure. So we have to hope that they whiff on Tron mana 2 running turns. Well, there's the Sanctum of Ugin, so we got there on 1 turn. Mutavault gives us the option to run out Master of Waves. But that's a big commitment of mana, and Master of Waves is one of our best ways of rebuilding a board. So probably better to play out Mutavault and a Lord, swing for 7 this turn, and we're still threatening overkill lethal with just the Lords and Mutavaults. If the opponent has something, I don't even know what they could have here, some way of dealing with my board next turn. I guess, like an Oblivion Stone, but they don't have mana for it. If they do hit that Tron piece, play an Oblivion Stone, wipe my board, I can try to rebuild with Master of Waves. So anyhow, play out the Lord, swing for as much damage as possible this turn. Very threatening next turn. We just have to hope that they don't draw exactly an Urza's Mine. So if they draw an Urza's Mine, they're going to have 9 mana, I think, available to them, which means that they could play Ugin, But actually, swinging for 7 here is going to bring them down to 6, which means that Mutavault could potentially close out the game by himself if the opponent does go with something like Ugin. Okay, so the opponent scooped it up. Spreading Seas did a great job that game, slowing them down just enough. Cursecatcher helped a ton, countering a Sylvan Scrying that would have gotten their Tron lands established. And yeah, the Lords took care of the rest. I'm going to go click out of this window here, so if you don't want to see the result of the match, please look away for a second. Alright, I'm back, and going into the second game. The opponent's going to be on the play. This is a pretty sensational hand. AEther Vial is going to help me get my creatures out, and Spreading Seas will keep them off of their Tron mana. It's a little bit slow as far as damage goes, but you can't ask for everything in your opening hand. We're going to have plenty of draw steps. And the opponent mulliganed this game. So they kept on 6, and this time they put a card on top. The opponent passed through to their second main, and I thought they might have kept 6 cards with no lands. But they did play an Urza's Mine. And an Expedition Map, so off to a fast start again. It's a good thing we have this Spreading Seas in hand. No more lands, come on. Alright, so Silvergill is an excellent draw. Island, AEther Vial. Easy turn 1. Okay, so this is, I think, is the first colored land we've seen. So they're playing some kind of black-green Tron. Cracking the Expedition Map now. Probably getting a tower or something. Oh, there's the power plant. We'll take AEther Vial up, and because they don't have 2 pieces established, as I mentioned last game, we're going to want to run out a creature before the Spreading Seas to establish a clock. So here is the Silvergill Adept, and there's a Seas Claim, which is just super beautiful, because next turn, if he plays out another Tron piece, we can hit both of them with our Seas. Okay, Chromatic Star, and passes the turn. AEther Vial will get ticked up. I do another Reejerey. So AEther Vial is probably going to go up next turn, but for now we can lead with the Spreading Seas. Well, lead with attacks, I guess. Minimal information for the opponent before we go to attacks. Okay, so they don't have anything. They take 2 from Silvergill Adept. Okay, hit the mine, draw a Mutavault, play the Wanderwine Hub, reveal the same creature that we revealed for the Silvergill Adept. And here we're going to play Seas Claim. So feeling pretty strongly in control of the game right now. It's still pretty slow stuff on our side. We couldn't play the Mutavault that turn because we needed to play both of these effects this turn. Oh, it didn't need to, but we wanted to. But next turn we'll be able to play the Mutavault, get out a Master of Waves, a Merrow Reejerey. Let's see if the opponent has anything threatening this turn. Well, there's a replacement power plant. Cycling Chromatic Star. Well, an Oblivion Stone is something. They need 1 more land to be able to sacrifice it, but that's definitely going to make me not want to commit too much more to the board. Thoughtseize. So I have to say, I think this is pretty terrible tech against Merfolk. Our deck is so redundant, and we just want to do so much damage that the two life that Thoughtseize costs helps us. And taking a card out of our hand, I mean, we're probably going to have creatures on the board, and we're going to have other creatures in our hand. So I think he took the Master of Waves here, but what does that do for him, you know? Doesn't do a lot. Just takes a card out of his hand and takes a card out of my hand and deals 2 damage to him. So AEther Vial is going to tick up here. It doesn't really matter because Oblivion Stone's going to kill this AEther Vial, probably. I guess if the opponent doesn't play a 4th land next turn, I get to bring in Reejerey on the end step and hopefully swing for more. But for now, with Oblivion Stone, we just go into a holding pattern, where if we can do damage, we do the damage. And just sort of force him to pop the Oblivion Stone. So there's a Ghost Quarter. It's not a tower. But he is going to crack this Oblivion Stone. Fake Aether Vial, but there's no reason. It's just a waste of time. I wasn't going to put out a Reejerey because he would die to the Oblivion Stone. So, unfortunately, Oblivion Stone washes away my Spreading Seas, but as it stands, I drew into the Seas Claim, so I can still disrupt his Tron plan on my next turn. So there's an Aether Vial. I think this turn, the play is just to attack with Mutavault. Attack with Mutavault, play out an Aether Vial, and play a Seas Claim to slow down his Tron lands. Now another option would have been to play out Aether Vial, play out Seas Claim, and play out a Reejerey to get my clock going faster. But I think here I prefer to just chip in with the Mutavault. I can always just play a Reejerey next turn. And I don't know. I just prefer pushing damage in that spot. So another Chromatic Star. I'm going to cycle it right away for green. And there's an Urza's Mine to replace the previous Urza's Mine. They're back on two distinct pieces. And they have another Oblivion Stone. So decent decision there, not running out the Reejerey. This, to me, seems a little bit silly and unnecessary. He would have been better served, I think, potentially hitting the Aether Vial. This gives me access to Island Walk, but he doesn't have blockers anyway. And he's got a redundant Urza's Mine anyway. I don't know. I guess the one extra mana that he could potentially generate with the Urza's Mine once he gets a tower online might be that important for him. But he did get rid of the Seas Claim. And he Ghost Quartered my Mutavault, so I'll get to replace it with an island. He's down to 5 lands again. And this turn, just hope to draw gas, basically. Land is not gas. It gives me the option of playing out 2 Reejereys, but with an Oblivion Stone on the board, we're definitely not going to do that. It's a slog right now. But the opponent's sitting on 1 card, and we're both just top-decking now. I know Tron generally has the upper hand in top-decking wars, but we've done a good job so far of keeping them off of Tron. All they need to do is top-deck a tower, though. Tapped Blooming Marsh. Aether Vial will go up to 2. Opponent still holding that Oblivion Stone back. Just go to combat. It's the same pattern as before. Chip in for 2 damage. Hope the opponent, doesn't draw good stuff. But it looks like he's going to use an Oblivion Stone to deal with 1 Reejerey. This Aether Vial doesn't matter at all since I have 6 lands. And at this point, after having gone through 2 Oblivion Stones, I'm just going to plop my hand onto the board. It's time to try to close things out. So 4 power could quickly become more if I draw into good stuff. Looks like the opponent ripped a tower off the top. What do they have to use all this mana for? Huh. Okay, so World Breaker. Not a really big deal. We can chump block this guy. He's just destroying one of our lands. Reejerey gets tap triggers, so any Merfolk off the top lets us keep pushing in for damage. And after the 4 life the guy gave us from the Nature's Claim, we've got plenty of time. If all he has is this World Breaker. He's on 0 cards right now, so we just really want to draw Merfolk right now. Well, Spreading Seas is nice too, because we can take him off of the Tron mana, and then hopefully hit a Merfolk. So it was the 1-2 punch right there. Spreading Seas into Island Walk Lord. We don't even need the tap trigger anymore. But we've got it, so we can add Insult to Injury and tap his World Breaker anyway. Swing for 6, threatening lethal next turn, unless he can do something about this Island Walk Lord. Another Oblivion Stone would not do it off the top, because they only have 3 to cast, and then 4 left after that. They wouldn't be able to crack the Oblivion Stone right away. If they play All Is Dust, they'd have Exactly's mana for that, in which case Cursecatcher would hit it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. They have enough mana for Karn, which would be decent, because he could hit my Master, but then any Merfolk off the top would tap his World Breaker down. And let me swing with these guys. Potentially not lethally if they were if we lost the Lord to something like a Karn, they'd be only 4 power. Well, tapping a lot. Okay, a Wormcoil Engine. I was a little bit afraid for a second, but then I remembered that I had Island Walk, and it really doesn't concern me at all. And the opponent scooped it. So at that point, we won the match. All right, so we went 4-1 in this modern friendly league. We beat Ad Nauseam and Bogles, and we lost to Burn after a couple of unfortunate mulligan decisions. And then we beat Green-White Eldrazi, and we beat Green-Black Tron. 2 matchups. The last 2 matchups were excellent for bringing in Ceremonious Rejection. And also, I was able to use Ceremonious Rejection pretty effectively against Ad Nauseam, countering a Lotus Bloom. So I feel like that card, as a recent addition to the sideboard, has been doing a ton of good work. I feel really good with that one right now. Obviously, Spreading Seas and Seas Claim doing a great job against Tron in this round. Yeah, and fortunately we were able to get there. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And I put in every single video my deck list and my sideboard strategy against each matchup. So if you haven't already been looking, check out the video descriptions for that information. And I'll see you guys next time. Thanks very much for watching. I appreciate it. Bye.